Happy Halloween, everyone. Going to be a great week this week, a little short week. We got 3 days. We're going to talk about the history of the earth, actually how it formed and everything, how life can be on earth, and even how the starting of how life began. We are going to have a separate unit that we talk about the evolution of life. We're just going to start just kind of touching on it here of how it began. Now, everything we talk about is based in scientific evidence. This is nothing that's just pulled out of the air. All of the theories, and they are theories because we weren't here, but all these theories that we talk about are theories that are agreed upon by the majority of the science community based on evidence. And of course, the evidence has to be those rocks. Not only the rocks on Earth, but the rocks in outer space. So we're going to talk about that. You got to see a video, and I got a lot of little questions to go along with it. This is going to just be a little short intro of just kind of a quick synopsis. Synopsis means something short about what you're going to learn about. So I want to say a great big shout out to my son for setting me up with this background. Happy Halloween. I got a couple of things going on for this week. So yay. I love Halloween. Halloween is one of my favorite times of year. I love the fall. Okay, so let's talk about the history of the earth. Okay, so Earth was not here. It has not always been here. They've dated. They've learned. The techniques have come along. And you're gonna hear in the video about the different scientists throughout the ages who have come up with these techniques and these evidence finders to figure out the age of the earth, and also to figure out the age of the continents, to figure out when water got here, what created our atmosphere, how life began. So all that's going to be discussed here on the history of the earth. So I do want to start out with saying that over 4.5 billion years ago, there was a huge explosion, the Big Bang. And in this Big Bang, there was a bunch of rocks got thrown out into solar systems. Okay, so not just here, but all over the place. And so these little bitty tiny rocks, well, lots and lots and lots of them. So these rocks start aggregating. And what do you think aggregating? They start coming together. And they get a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And there actually weren't rocks, they were minerals. So they get bigger and bigger and bigger. To eventually, it got so big, it created its own force, which is called gravity. And gravity, as you well know, when you drop something, gravity is going to pull it to it. So gravity is this fierce force that's going to pull stuff to it. Okay, so Earth started getting big enough to start pulling bigger rocks. And so over these billions of years, it forms this nice Earth. Okay, but it's not the Earth we know. No, it's a big old molten hot lava of rocks, because some of these asteroids and rocks that were hitting the Earth had heat, was radiation. So every time they'd hit it, they'd bring that energy to it, and it would just heat up. Okay, so because of that, because it was nice and hot, the heavier metals would fall down, and that's the reason why we have that iron core, which is very heavy, and the lighter ones kind of floated on the top. And eventually, the outer crust cooled down just like bread. You had a nice little crust going on. Well, and the reason it did that is because outer space is very cold. So it cooled down and it created a nice crust, kind of keeping all that energy stored inside. Well, another planet decided to come near Earth, the planet Earth, and it just kind of skimmed off the edge. And when it skimmed off the edge, it took some of the crust and mantle with it. So it kind of exploded in outer space. But remember, in outer space, you're going to see an experiment that they did on the space station, where when things are in outer space, no gravity, they start aggregating together. They start coming together. So the pieces of the Earth started aggregating together again, once again creating got big enough to create a gravitational pull, and started pulling these other little pieces in. And guess what we have now? We have a moon. So that is the theory of how the moon was formed. Okay, so now we're looking at the Earth. It has cooled back down. It has got this nice crust going on, and now we're trying to figure out when water came. And they found this rock, the oldest rock on Earth, because up to this point, the reason why they're getting these theories are not from the rocks on Earth, because remember at the beginning, those rocks melted. It's big molten. So they had to rely on different rocks. I wonder what type of rocks they are. You're going to find out in our video. So it's very important to listen when they talk about these rocks. So they look at those rocks. So now on Earth, they found the oldest rocks. It was about 4.3 billion years old, 4.28 billion years old, so quite a ways back. And they found this rock, these set of rocks, and they look at it and they start doing experimentation, and they realize that these rocks cannot form without water. So now we have moved the original theories was that water came a lot later than it did. But with these rocks and the dating this rock, which you're going to find out the method of dating these rocks to get that exact age, they found out that it's 4.28 billion years old. 4.28 billion, not million, billion years ago that these formed. So now we know there's water, because these rocks cannot form without water, this mineral that's in this rock. So they go back and they start reanalyzing it. And this is not just one test. This is many scientists doing many tests to get this information. So now they realize water was on Earth a little bit longer than what they thought. But where did that water come from? You will learn. You will learn where that water came from. Pretty cool thing. Okay, so then there's water on Earth. Then there's these small organisms, we're going to learn about it, they started producing gases. One gas specifically. Can you guess? It's very significant for us. In fact, if we didn't have this gas, we couldn't be here. So they started producing that secret gas. And then life started blooming. So all different things you guys are going to learn about here. So when you sit down and watch this video, make sure you know what rocks that they studied, how water got to Earth, how life started, and what gas was so important. So guys, just sit back, enjoy. I know the video is a little bit long, but it's a very exciting little video. It's got, well, okay, it's exciting for me because I'm a science geek. But it is a really good information. I told you before, I did not know a lot of this information, and I keep learning even more. Even watching this video, I learned a little bit more. And it's a lot more involved than just a simple video. But this is all we're going to touch in 8th grade. In high school and in college, you'll go in a lot more detail. But these are just kind of hitting some of those big basics. How the Earth was formed, how the moon was formed, how water got on Earth, how continents created, how life formed, how the atmosphere formed. All of that is what we're going to cover here in 8th grade science. All right, guys. Happy Halloween, and I hope you have an amazing Halloween week. Maybe some treats and not too much tricks. All right, guys. Peace out.